Well, it is already getting dark. Well, not getting dark, but it's already at the stage where it's getting darker, earlier, earlier, and I'm not a fan. I don't like it. I don't like it at all, Potter. One of these days, I'm gonna go to Alaska or Sweden where it's just always. What do they have that thing there? Where it's like sunny 24 hours a day. That's what I'm gonna end up doing. But I guess it's like what 23. It's 23 hours and 59 minutes and 59 seconds of daylight or something like that. Sounds more my speed. It really sucks though. It's getting darker so much earlier. I can't believe it's already happening. But on the plus side, it's almost Spooktober, everybody. It is almost Spooktober. But I also have a lot of shite to cover, so let's get to it. Let's get down to it, Potter. So, Maga Max Miller has been accused by his wife of holding a gun to her head, throwing boiling water on her, and then breaking their 2-year-old's collarbone. Yes, that is correct. A 2-year-old child, his own daughter no less, he broke the child's collarbone. This is not a man. This is not a man. This is a terrorist. And like all Republicans, of course, he's a fucking terrorist and a wife beater. So, Republican Max Miller's ex-wife responds after Miller publicly shared nude images of their 2-year-old daughter on the internet. That's the other thing. He shared nude images of his 2-year-old daughter on the internet. What is it with these Republican freaks and always sharing pedo material? Oh, speaking of pedos, Nicholas Paulson! He is here supporting Trump, who is the #1 pedophile in the Epstein Files. Nicholas Paulson, that absolutely makes sense that you would support a pedophile. I can totally tell from your profile picture that you are definitely a real person and not an actual bot. Hey, by the way, Nicholas Paulson.
Trump is on the Epstein list. Yes, he is.
Nicholas Paulson, you are a pedophile! Wow, that's early. We're getting the MAGA pedos in here early. So this is Nicholas Paulson-W7Q. This is what he's supporting. The first time Miller shared the folder, it contained private images of Miller and Ms. Moreno's daughter and left her name unredacted. At least one of those images could be considered child sex abuse material because the daughter's genitals appear to be visible. This is why I say every single Republican pedophile that comes into my chat screaming, "Oh, go Trump! Oh, go MAGA!" You guys are all pedophiles. This is what you support. And these are not one-offs. It happens more and more and more and more. Trump, of course, being in the Epstein Files. You got Howard Lutnick, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg. All of these Republican donors are all in the Epstein Files. So, yeah, every little MAGA groomer that comes into my chat and starts spouting off, "Yay, go MAGA!" I automatically assume you're a pedophile and you need to have your hard drive examined thoroughly. New filing from Emily Moreno's lawyers regarding Max Miller's video rant and apparently unedited Dropbox folder. These guys are just fucking evil. There's just no other way to describe it. They're just evil, evil people, and they don't belong in polite society. I mean, who not only did this freak post CSAM of his daughter, this freak actually went out and broke his daughter's collarbone. Elara784, this is what you support. You support a man that's posted child sex abuse material of his own daughter. You understand why I call you guys pedophiles, right? Because if all you come in here is chirping about, grooming and pedophilia shit, and then these are your people, these are who you support, you're all pedophiles. Also,
Trump is on the Epstein
remember this, Elara784? Trump is a pedophile. #1 client of Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump, and you support him. This is why I think you're all pedophiles. Like, there's nothing you can come in here and yap about. There's nothing you could possibly type behind the safe space of your keyboard without the world knowing that you are a pedophile that supports pedophiles. That's just a fact. As long as Donald Trump is your standard bearer, you are a pedophile. There's just no way around it. You are a pedo protector. God, I love that clip of Trump being confronted by that one guy just saying, "You're a pedophile protector! You're a pedophile protector!" Oh, I could watch that on repeat every day. So this was his video statement where he says, "My former wife has claimed that during a custody exchange in my home that day, I assaulted her. If I had assaulted her, would she have offered to cook me dinner 6 days later? Yeah, I can't imagine why a woman who you've been abusing and held a gun at her head would be terrified enough of you to cook for you." It's real mystery. Real mystery.
My former wife has claimed that during a custody exchange
Come on, look at this guy. This dude is a freak. He's absolutely a freak. This dude 100% is guilty. This is the whitest, guiltiest face. He couldn't be more guilty if he had it stamped across his fucking forehead. MAGA equals mindlessly abandoning good always. Nice, Omzi.
at my home that day, I assaulted her. Here's what actually happened, and I have the Ring doorbell footage that backs it up.
No, he doesn't. I guarantee you. So he's also said that he's going to initiate his own ethics panel review. So I guarantee you the ethics panel review is going to be nothing but smears, nothing but slander, nothing but distraction from the simple facts that he abused his wife, broke his daughter's collarbone. And I mean, this is also, we already have this in the public record. He posted CSAM of his own daughter. That's just a fact. So who is this guy to be chirping? The man is insane, and I heard the calls with his wife. Rogelio Ramirez, I have no idea what you're saying. He literally mocks his ex-wife. Yeah, because he's an abuser. That absolutely tracks. All of that behavior tracks the same way that he's posting CSAM of his own child. Like, what kind of a man does that? What kind of a man posts CSAM of his own 2-year-old child? That's crazy. Captain Dondi, thank you. Glad you like the flag.
She came to my home in a good mood, and we have text messages to prove it, which you'll have, to pick up our daughter early for a friend's birthday party. She was inside my house for several minutes when she left. The video shows her walking out, carrying our daughter.
Why does he actually act like he's a hostage video? What? Why does he look like there's somebody holding a cardboard sign with what to say and then pointing a gun at him at the same time? This is giving hostage vibes. What the hell?
Calm, in the same good mood, showing no distress whatsoever. And as they left, you can hear me say, "Goodbye, I love you, and I love you, Ruthie." Literally telling my ex-wife that I still cared for her.
What? Wow. Is he on something? Look at his eyes. He's his own hostage. He's allergic to accountability. I think he's on something, though. Look at this. There was a weird, like, tweak he gave. Watch this.
Wife, that I still cared for her.
That is so weird. Stream quality is when PS1 when it first launched. Why is that? I don't know, Humsy. Everything looks good on my end. Try refreshing, maybe?
Does that sound like somebody
He still does
who
T,
would
what,
just walk
testosterone?
out and who have been violently thrown a wall and been abused? She didn't call the police after that. She didn't go to the hospital, ladies and gentlemen. Do you want to know what she did? She went straight to a child's birthday party. The very next day, we had a friendly phone call about our daughter's upcoming hospital procedure, and I drove in from Washington to be there for it. 6 days later, she offered to cook empanadas for me for dinner, just 2 days later after this alleged incident.
What's crazy is how none of this actually breaks the victim domestic abuse cycle. This actually is right on par with it. Because, you know, there's the whole honeymoon cycle, and then he abuses you, and I'm the apologetic cycle, the honeymoon cycle abuses you, and it just keeps going round and round, that little merry-go-round, right? So, God, he is 100% on something. Or he was, like, crying. Why does he look like the Batman who just took off his eye makeup? Look at this. He's on something here in this video.
The day after that, she invited me and my girlfriend, and which you'll have in text messages, to join her and our daughter at a playground. And that day, I just went with my former wife to the playground to spend time with our daughter. A week later, on February 15th, she wrote to me In her own words, which you will see, I think it's great you and I are in a friendlier place. She then offered me more extra overnights with our daughter, which I can prove to every single one of you is recently. Every one of these messages is time-stamped on our court-sanctioned co-parenting app and is all in the packet. Only weeks later did the story of February 1st assault appear, so ask yourself, if I had assaulted her,
He is not coming off convincing at all. Look at this, how he like has to choke back saliva.
first assault appear, so ask yourself, if I had assaulted her,
no way,
would she
dude.
have offered to cook me dinner 6 days later? Would she have invited me to spend an afternoon at the playground with her and our daughter? Would she have written that we were in a friendlier place?
What's crazy that this is
No,
the best
she wouldn't
take
have,
they could
ladies
get.
and gentlemen.
That's the best take they could get? That's crazy to me.
My
This is so creepy. And none of it disproves anything. If anything, it falls right in line with the domestic abuse cycle. And she's just trying to, like, put up a front to act as if everything is normal so that he doesn't, you know, point a fucking gun at her again. I'm actually really glad he released this video because many women who have had interactions with men like this can see immediately exactly who this guy is. I totally agree with this. Well, I've had a lot of problems with Jill Filipovich's takes on some other issues, but this is 100% accurate. I mean, this video shows exactly who he is. This guy is clearly putting up a front, and it's not even a convincing front. He's not even a good manipulator. Like, Trump, for all of his flaws, he's obviously a pedophile, a rapist, a wife beater, but he's very good at putting up a front to at least get some people to believe him. I mean, anybody with enough common sense can see through his act as being bullshit, but he plays the victim enough that, yeah, it's like some people will side on with him. This is like, he is so uncertain. He's so uncomfortable in his own skin. He's clearly on something, or he's been crying, or he must have put drops in his eyes to cover up from having crack eyes or whatever the hell drugs he's on. This is so unconvincing. So Trump, being a pedophile rapist, as I said, had this to say about Max Miller after the accusations.
You were asked yesterday whether Representative Max Miller should resign from Congress over the allegations, and you said that you'd have a look at it. Have you thought about that? And also, do you think that
Well,
he
it's a
should
very
be
sad thing. I
replaced?
know Max. He's a good person. I mean, I always thought he was a very good person. And I'm going to let the families figure that out. You know, those families.
He's got great taste.
I know.
Remember Ghislaine Maxwell? I wish her well. I hope she's doing well. Hope she gets early release out of jail so she can go on and get me more victims. I would love that. I'd love that very much.
They're working on it. It's a very sad thing, especially when you know somebody so well, to be going through that. But it's accusations, and I'm going to let them figure that out. Yep.
Like, this is what I mean. Like, he plays the victim. Like, he's not being directly accused here, but he's able to gin up enough, I don't know, sympathy in a way that some people will buy onto that bullshit. And the MAGA pedos will latch onto this being the talking point. Oh, it's just accusations. Oh, it's just accusations. I can see Ben Shapiro's rant right now. It's like, it's just accusations. Because, you see, when women say things, that doesn't immediately make it true. If a woman said something, does that mean she's breathing air? We don't know. We will never know. But all we know is that if a woman makes accusations, that doesn't automatically make it true. Like, for example, my wife could say that I never make her wet even when I dunk her in the pool. But that doesn't mean it's true. I mean, it is true, but it doesn't automatically make it true. I can just see his fucking rant about this already. Now, Bernie Moreno, as you recall, was the one who was shouting at Fauci like an impotent little cuck to make up for the fact that he's not man enough to actually go after the guy who's abusing, you know, his own daughter and granddaughter. I mean, think about this. This pedophile here, Max Miller, released CSAM of his 2-year-old granddaughter. And when this motherfucker was asked about it, his response was, I don't know if he should. They were asking if Max Miller should stay in the race, and he says, I don't know. This is not a man. This is a coward. This is a eunuch. And frankly, his daughter and granddaughter would actually be safer if he were not around. And I can't stand that there's some liberals that are actually trying to make it a talking point that, oh, yeah, this is, I can't remember who it was, but it was one of these stupid fucking liberals on Twitter. I'm never calling it X, by the way. One of these stupid fucking liberals on Twitter was saying, this is how you do it. This is how you stand up for your daughter. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? This shit has been going on for months, since February 1st, apparently, and motherfucker is just now, after a week's worth of coverage, deciding to find his balls. It's ridiculous. CBS News, Bernie Moreno, Republican of Ohio, says he picked his granddaughter up from Max Miller on Sunday at the police station. I'm still a little confused on why they were at the police station. I'm not aware of something recently happening, but maybe that's where they do the trade-off per their parenting agreement. I don't know. I'm curious about the details on this. And Miller wouldn't hand over his daughter's favorite little blue bunny. This girl is crying at night because she can't sleep without her little blue bunny, and his answer is, I'm just not going to give it to you. Like I said, this guy needs to be locked up. Frankly, both of them need to be locked up, but this guy for sure, he's definitely on something here. But this guy needs to be locked up. He needs to be away from public society, because who the hell does this to their own daughter? Who the hell wouldn't let their own daughter want to have a good night's sleep? This guy is a danger to his children and a danger to society, and we keep calling for accountability, right? The centrist establishment were all rightfully wanting accountability for Graham Plattner, and he's now out of the race, and they won't even put for a fucking tenth of the effort that they put at Graham Plattner on this guy. That's insane. And these are, comparatively to what Graham Plattner's being accused of, pretty equal. If not worse. I mean, he's being accused of posting CSAM of his daughter. He's being accused of throwing boiling water at his wife. He's being accused of holding a gun to his wife's head. He's being accused of breaking his 2-year-old's collarbone. And Graham Plattner, is being accused of raping at least one woman. I believe there might be more that are coming forward. But, these are both terrible fucking people. Where the fuck is the centrist rage at Max Miller? I'm not seeing it. I haven't seen shit from Neera Tanden about this guy, but she's still harping on about Abdul. She's still harping on about Hassan. She's still harping on about Francesco Huang. Where the fuck is her outrage on this? This is why people say that the Democratic establishment puts more effort into combating and fighting off their left flank than they ever do against Republicans. That's why they lose. It's absolutely part of why they lose. I mean, if you can't even stand up for the your literal opposition, who, by the way, both of these guys are Nazis. They're part of the MAGA pedo party. They want to make abortion illegal. They want to give Trump a blank check to do whatever the fuck he wants with his ballroom. They want to give him a unitary executive power to have SEAL Team 6 go in and fucking raid the DNC headquarters or some shit. That's what they stand for. That's what they believe in. That's what they would allow. And the left, God forbid, we want to give people health care. We want to give people a living wage. Oh my God. You just said the L word, a living wage. Oh, we can't do that. We need to align with the Nazis. At least we know that we can put them in front of you, and they'll go for you first. And then when they come for us, well, it's going to be too late at that point, so who cares? You've never seen the kind of outrage from the centrist establishment against Max Miller that you did against Graham Plattner. And while we're on the topic of pedophiles, since that's what Max Miller is, let me see where I need to scroll back here. Deutsche Bank failed to promptly report to U.S. authorities more than $250 million in suspicious transactions tied to Jeffrey Epstein, including funds used to pay women in Russia and other Eastern European countries, according to a new report from Senator Ron Wyden. Bank of America didn't report millions of dollars in suspicious Epstein-related transactions connected to billionaire Leon Black, including 2 unusual wires, and other that did not have a verifiable business purpose, and no apparent economic, business, or lawful purpose until 5 to 7 years after they took place, according to Wyden's 67-page report. It's not just enough to go after the affiliates like Leon Black, these billionaire pedophiles that helped Epstein. We need to take down these corporations. Bank of America should absolutely be dissolved, and every bit of fucking money they have ever taken from this pedophile should be given back to its customers and to the people. And Deutsche Bank, same thing. These companies need to be fucking abolished. Their executives need to be in jail. This is the bare fucking minimum, and the centrists, just like with Max Miller, they're not calling for it. These allegations, based on reviews of non-public records held by the Treasury Department, are detailed in Wyden's report, Looking the Other Way, How Wall Street Banks Enabled Jeffrey Epstein's Sex Trafficking. The document describes the lawmakers' multi-year investigation into Epstein's financial network. Wyden's office shared a copy of the report exclusively with Business. Is this Business Insider? Oh, Bloomberg Business, okay. The report also says Wyden was interviewed about his investigation in March by then 60 Minute correspondent Sharon Alfonsi for a segment the news program was reporting about Wall Street banks and the U.S. Virgin Islands government's relationship with Epstein. Now, if you recall, Chase Bank, run by, oh shit, what's his name? I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on that motherfucker's name. Let me see if I can Google it real quick. Diamond. Jeffrey Diamond? It was Jeffrey Diamond, right? Jess Stolley. That's not right. JP Morgan sued Stolley. Hang on, I think it's Jeffrey Diamond. Jamie Dimon. Jamie Dimon. He was the CEO of Chase Bank, who was aware of the Epstein operations in the Virgin Islands and helped to cover it up. And they had to pay tens of millions of dollars to the U.S. Virgin Islands when they were sued because Jamie Dimon helped. These people, again, why are we letting these people walk the earth? Why the fuck are we letting these corporations like Deutsche Bank, Bank of America, Chase Bank, why in the fuck are we letting these people who took the money of pedophiles and then actively helped to cover it up? Why the fuck are we letting them walk the streets? What the fuck are we doing here? This is fucking insane. You ever wonder how this stuff can happen? It's because we give impunity to these fucking banks, to these fucking corporations. If you ever want to take out the fucking sex trafficking organizations, you start with the corporations and the executives. Stop giving these motherfuckers immunity. I swear, every single time, if you ever want to commit a crime, just do it under the cover of being a CEO of a massive multinational corporation. Then you've got carte blanche to do whatever in the fuck crimes you want to do, like pay for Epstein's Island. This is insane. 2 months later, CBS News fired Alfonsi after she publicly criticized CBS News leadership and editor-in-chief Barry Weiss's editorial decisions involving a different segment she reported. Neither the Wyden interview nor the broader Epstein story has aired. A spokesperson for CBS News confirmed that Alfonsi had interviewed Wyden for a potential segment in March, but said the full story did not come together for airing during the 60-minute season that concluded in May. I don't believe that for a second. The spokesperson would not comment on any plans for the program's next season. Yeah, because they're probably going to scrap it. Wyden intends to introduce legislation that would impose tougher penalties on banks and individual bankers who fail to swiftly report suspicious activity involving high-risk clients, according to the report. Again, we already have plenty of legislation against this. We just need to actually fucking enforce it. His proposed bill, hell, make it the other way around. Have the penalties go towards the rank and file of the Justice Department that don't actively investigate and prosecute this shit. His proposed bill would require greater accountability for wealth management executives, including annual certifications from senior bank officials that ultra-high net worth clients have undergone proper monitoring and enhanced due diligence. This doesn't do shit. This doesn't do anything. It's just more paperwork. And this is exactly how they're able. These are all paperwork. They're not even paperwork crimes, but they're all paper-trailed crimes. And we have them dead to fucking rights that they help pedophiles rape children on islands. And these billionaires and these corporations let them do it knowingly, knowing that this money had no legitimate, it says here, no legitimate business or political, not have a verifiable business purpose. They knew it, and they did it anyways. They let it fucking happen. It's a long-ass thread. So let's scoot back a little bit. CBS apparently had a major Epstein story in the works detailing major corruption at the top of Wall Street banks and involving the Virgin Islands government. Never made it to air into the new Barry Weiss-Ellis relationship. So we are proud of our aggressive and extensive reporting on the Epstein scandal. That reporting continues. We air pieces when they are ready, and suggesting that an interview is being suppressed for any reason is categorically false. Well, that just makes it look more sus than ever. Like, you can't just have all the proof that you were covering shit up, and then your response is just be, nuh-uh. It looks so fucking phony, dude. So this, Ryan Grimm accurately says, Barry Weiss now an integral part of the Epstein cover-up. Yeah, 100%. That's all. This also is part of why the Ellisons and all these billionaires like Jeff Bezos, who's also in the Epstein Files, these people keep buying up these legacy media organizations because then they control the narrative. So that then, look at this, stories like this, very deeply sourced information on all these pedophiles in Wall Street don't make it to air. They're supposed to be aired back in what, March, they said? May? And they didn't air it. This is absolutely a fucking cover-up. It could not be more of a cover-up than if you were to throw a fucking blanket over the thing and just say these aren't the stories you're looking for. It's clearly a fucking cover-up. And as I said, when it comes to pedophiles and rapists like Max Miller, he's not the only one. This goes into a huge rot within the party. House Ethics found Rep. Chuck Edwards, who replaced former Representative Madison Cawthorn, who also is very, very problematic, violated House rules related to sexual harassment and hostile workplaces. Ethics recommended Edwards be censured. Oh, no, not a censorship. Oh, how will his career ever recover? Oh, no. You're trying to put shame on the party that has no shame? Oh, yes, this is going to work so fucking well. I mean, like, seriously, what is the point of the ethics committee? What have they ever, like, actually uncovered that like, you know, the press hasn't before, you know, or the voters? What is the point of this? Just like, okay, here, give me your wrist, give me your wrist. There, no, bad, Chuck Edwards. You naughty, don't do that again. Oh, okay, I definitely won't. Come here, girl. Like, this is what these guys do. To think this is going to have any adverse effect is ridiculous. We need to make it easier to toss people out. Honestly, these ethics committees need to I don't know, fucking suspend them without pay. Seriously. What's the point of these organizations? Suspend them without pay, take away their health care, make these people actually feel the consequences of their own actions. So, speaking of the establishment, this is someone that they can't stand, Abdul El-Sayed, who, inshallah, will win tonight in the Michigan primary. I should look up the results soon.
So if you win and get the Democratic Party that you want, who belongs in it and who doesn't?
Anybody who wants to take on fascism, anybody who wants to get money out of politics, anybody who wants to fight for union rights, anybody who wants to make sure that people can live free with clean air and drink clean water, anybody who wants to guarantee health care, come on in, the water is fine. We want to build a broad coalition, but sometimes when the Democratic Party talks about a big tent, we push everybody into the corner and then go talk and pander to the corner. I'm just trying to bring everybody to the tent pole in the middle to talk about what we really need. We need good housing. We need good schools. We need health care. We need to know that our government works
Maddie,
for us
welcome
rather
back.
than
Haven't seen you in a
corporations who
while.
buy off politicians. We need to know that our money is going to be spent on us. And I think that can unite people independent of how they pray, who they love, how they identify, if they pray, where they come from in the state, the color of their skin, coming together to build something that we can only have together.
Do you get, well, is there any group of people in the organization that's sort of a red line for you that says, no, you're not part of this, or that view is not part of the Democratic Party I'm hoping to sustain here in Michigan?
We're trying to define a viewpoint that's built on money out of politics, money in your pocket, Medicare for all. If you agree with those things, come join us. We're for civil liberties. We're for equal rights. We love and appreciate all people. And I want to build this movement, bringing people together around the things we need and deserve that we can have together if we fight for them.
Is the DSA part of the Democratic Party in Michigan?
I'm not DSA.
I know you're not.
But if folks from the DSA want to be a part of the Democratic Party, I would imagine that anybody would want them there, right? Because you want voters. Like this idea that somehow we are going to win elections by pushing people out seems to me to be inconsistent with the way that democracy works. You want a coalition of all people. You know who else are going to be part of my coalition? 3-time Trump voters who want health care, who want to keep our money here at home.
And they're out there, yeah.
They're out there. I meet them at almost every event I go to. So we're building a big, broad coalition, truly a big tent of people that combines folks from DSA on one side, even if I'm not a socialist, and combines 3-time Trump voters, even if I've never voted for Donald Trump.
Are you concerned about being labeled a socialist?
I think that folks who come here, like with 2 weeks left in the election, really, really want to label me a socialist. I don't know why, except for maybe it fits into a nice telling of a broader national story. But I'm a scientist, right? And I like solutions that solve problems. That's the approach that I've always taken. I don't do ideology. I'd rather think of myself as a capitalist who actually read about capitalism, in the sense that the biggest risk to capitalism was always going to be corporate consolidation and monopoly rather than government regulation. In fact, you need some government regulation to make sure that capitalism runs well. I want to make sure that our capitalism is functional rather than allowing big corporations to buy politicians to rig the system against us.
You are not a member of the Democratic Socialists of America. They did not endorse you. But we know that there are DSA members out there in this state right now campaigning on your behalf, handing out literature for you.
It's a big time, my friend.
And any concern, though, that they may be misrepresenting you and
look,
casting you as one of them when you say you're not?
You know, it's funny, right? Democrats are so concerned about what other people say about us. And I think we just need to be more concerned about what we say about the lives of Michiganders. I want to get money out of politics, put money in your pocket, pass Medicare for all. If you want to be part of that movement, whether you voted for Donald Trump 3 times or you are DSA, come join us.
So I didn't get a chance to watch that because I'm having trouble with my stream. Whoa. This is bizarre. Why is it at 50 kbs? Let's try that. This newest update really seems to have fucked with it with the settings. Let me see if that's any better. I think that I made it better there. Yeah, okay. I don't know how these settings keep getting adjusted. Does it look like that on Twitch? Why does it say I'm not streaming on Twitch? Let me refresh this. Okay. So let's try, I'm going to try just one other thing. Let's put this back to 6,000. Hopefully, wouldn't I want to use main? Okay, I think it's doing better. Okay. Okay. Think we're good. Horizontal stream looks fine. Okay. We're better. Okay. All right. Where was I? So with Abdullah Sayed's, I didn't get to listen to a lot of it there because I was kind of distracted. But one thing that struck me is kind of early on, he's talking about anyone who wants to defeat fascism, who wants Medicare for all, this, that, and the other. These are very broad points. These are very broad issues that have a lot of cross appeal. And then I think he said it later on. He's like, look, I'm talking to three-time Trump voters that want health care, right? And I think this is what went so wrong in 2016 and in 2024 is that the Democratic establishment shied away from those issues. They shied away from really bold strategies. And Trump, his solutions were evil, but they were bold. They were bold, they were radical, they were dangerous, and they were far more enticing to many people rather than, oh, we will give you some health care. There might be a minimum wage raise, but we have to make sure that our corporate donors get more money first. And the environment is like icky. We're not going to touch that. We're not going to go there. When, like, yeah, I wonder why it's such a shocker that people would shy away from that kind of a policy platform when someone else is offering this big bold thing. I'm going to give you everything. I'm going to make you free taxes. I will have the pharmaceutical companies pay you for doing their drugs. That's the way it's going to work now. Like, yeah, what a surprise that that resonated more with voters than this little hand-wringing mouse bullshit that the Democrats were doing previously. It's a mystery, total mystery. And then, but again, you have Abdul Sayed talking about these very specific policy proposals that he wants. This is Haley Stevens' idea of a policy proposal.
And in the United States Congress, I will continue to fight for the people of Israel. I will continue to fight for Israel's existence. Israel comes to me in my dreams. I see Israel's future, and I know that Israel will continue.
Even this guy's like, what the fuck is this lady talking about? Look at it. Look at the turn. Look at his face.
Future, and I know that Israel will continue. Comes to me in my dreams. I see
like, huh?
Israel's future,
What?
and I know that Israel will continue to exist for the Jewish people. And it.
How is that a policy that's going to help Americans? We're talking about America. Israel is its own fucking country. They have their own fucking taxpayers. Stop leeching off of us. Why can't they fucking solve their own fucking problems? This is insane. This is supposed to help America? Israel comes to me in my dreams. It's so creepy. It's so fucking creepy. And fortunately, at least as of early returns right now, it looks like Abdullah's up. Let's see, I just had it. Oops. Oh, wow, his lead is even growing. So the polls don't close for another 21 minutes, and then, of course, they have to count, last of the strays. But at least as of right now, he's got 31,000 votes to Haley Stevens' 17.2 thousand. So he's up 62% to 34 against Haley Stevens. Yeah, I wonder why people wouldn't find this a sound policy proposal that's going to, help them get health care or lower gas prices or, like Abdul says, put money in your fucking pocket.
I will continue to fight for Israel's existence. Israel comes to me in my dreams.
Like, how is that? This is witchy shit. I'm sorry. She just comes off as a complete psychopath. I don't understand the appeal. Like, surely the establishment has to see it too, right? I mean, you can't watch stuff like that and be like, oh yeah, this is a totally normal human being with a normal reaction, and this is definitely going to help the suffering of Americans. I don't get it. The establishment is just that fucking terrified of leftists wanting to actually help people. Because if the leftists are able to help people, again, like we're saying with Mamdani being so successful, if they're able to help people, then that means that they are going to have to actually, one, they're going to have to get off their ass and actually fucking work. And two, that means they're not going to be able to take so many fucking bribes from all the corporations. Like, she's taken money from a whole bunch of pharmaceutical companies. Gretchen Whitmer's father is an executive at Blue Cross? I think it's Blue Cross. So, yeah, this means that they would actually have to get off their fucking ass and work for the people for a change instead of working for the corporations, which threatens the entire establishment order. Because they're not there to provide for us. They are there to provide for themselves. We've seen it time and time again where these Democrats, hope and change. We had that with Obama, and granted, he did deliver on a lot of things, but he also fucked up on a lot of other shit. And we see it even on local, smaller elections. People are elected to these big offices with these big promises, and then they never fucking deliver because they get bought and paid for by the corporate interests. Even out, like I'm really worried with AOC because I'm seeing it with her. She strikes me as tacking hard to the center, especially with her praise for Jeffries and Schumer. Nuh-uh, that's not the move. Sister Fran, that ain't it. This is not going to help with what we need. These guys have consistently failed repeatedly. They have just ran into face first into wall after wall after wall, and they don't learn to maybe go the fuck around. choking back tears. As far as I know, the only version of this we had before this was the cam rip. Oh, I see. So this is ripped directly from some kind of a stream, whereas this is the actual footage. I don't even think there's a cut in the. Yeah, so it's just directly from that straight camera. So, inshallah, hopefully El Sayed, I'm going to refresh this in a minute after this segment and see where we're at.
Yeah, I think that tomorrow
it's our
Abdul
it's our
Sayed
boy.
will deliver the biggest blow
It's our
so
emote
far
boy.
against the establishment of the Democratic Party because
It's our
he
emote
is
boy.
the
Here we
heavy
go.
favorite going into
Here we go.
tomorrow.
Let's
Just
see.
take a look at the
See what he's got
prediction
for
market
us.
odds. Okay, chance to be the Michigan Democratic Senate nominee, Abdul Sayed. Look at this. He's up to a 98% chance according to the Calendar prediction markets, way up like a rocket compared to where he was on April 3rd when he was just a 28% chance.
This is still a pretty crazy. Look at where he was, 28% chance, and now he's at 98. This is insane. I'm sorry that Kalshi is just, this is a stupid source for them to use, but just for I don't know, comparison purposes, it's really amazing to see he was at 28% and now 98%. It's crazy.
Just a few months ago, the bottom line is this. You look at all the data that is out there. Abdul Sayed is the very heavy favorite going into tomorrow. And, of course, he is backed by a lot of folks on the left wing of the Democratic Party. And at this point, as I said at the beginning, he looks tomorrow to deliver the biggest blow so far against the establishment wing of the Democratic Party.
This is such a key point, too, because Israel has dumped 50 plus, I think it's up to 55 million now, into this race. It's an insane amount of money. And if Abdul Sayed is able to take that on and win, that means that not only has Israel become so much of a pariah, but even their money can't solve everything. This is going to have a lot of Democratic candidates, you know, that are going to want to get bought and paid for by Israel. They're going to be like, hey, I don't know if I can take this money. But look at Haley Stevens. Look what you guys did to Haley Stevens. And this nothing could actually be better for America and for democracy than for this to be a complete repudiation of AIPAC. If it is, there's going to be a huge, even bigger, like we were starting to see a few tacking away from Israel, blaming Netanyahu, this, that, and the other. Some people saying, yeah, there's been some war crimes. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of war crimes. I just think war crimes are kind of bad. My name is Gavin Newsom, and this is a really bad impression of him. But I think you get the point that there's even centrists like Gavin Newsom is saying, well, Israel's not that great after all. Although he did tack right back to them anyways. So, boy, if this is going to be huge if Israel loses, and then we just got to look towards Cori Bush's election, because if you remember, Cori Bush was taken out by Wesley Bell, who was an AIPAC-funded candidate, and man, now things are spinning back around. I really want to see what's going to happen with that election, too.
Give us some sense of just the amount of anger that is there, really at incumbents.
Yeah.
Not at, just a particular person, but at incumbents, at people who are the establishment.
Sarah, I
really good question by her.
think this is part of a larger story within the Democratic Party, right? That is why tomorrow is so key for understanding where the Democratic Party is right now. And you can see it nationally. What do Democrats want? Democrat and Democratic leaders who think the party needs at least major changes. Look at this. In 2022, it was just 33%. Look where it is now. The clear majority of Democratic voters are those who lean towards the Democratic Party. 57%. A clear majority.
That's like, what, a 24-point swing? That's huge. And again, for like I was just saying with AOC, for her to tack to the center and praise Jeffries, praise Schumer, all this other shit, it's not going to work, girl. I don't know what you're doing, but it's scary because, AOC is, I'd like her to be such more of a leader of the progressive and the leftist side, but boy, if that keeps up, she's gonna Pelosify herself anytime now.
Already believe that the party needs at least major changes. No wonder what we've seen so far is incumbents go down and defeat the House of Representatives. No wonder what we've seen so far this Democratic primary season is the establishment losing and losing and losing again in key races. And no wonder that Abdul Sayed is favored tomorrow, because the Democratic Party's voters at this point are so upset with the establishment. They're saying anything else, please. And Abdul El-Sayed, who just 8 years ago during Trump's first term got blown out running for Michigan governor against Gretchen Whitmer, tomorrow is the heavy favorite because, simply put, the Democratic Party is looking for something new, and they are looking to go against Haley Stevens most likely tomorrow, who, of course, is a sitting congresswoman.
I do want to ask you just how motivated Dems are. Where's the energy? How motivated are they to go out and vote? Because numbers matter.
Yeah, numbers matter. Who in the Democratic Party is motivated to turn out and vote this election season? The energy right now is on the left wing of the Democratic Party, where Abdul El-Sayed is. Just take a look here. Okay, Dems extremely motivated to vote. Look at this. 80%, 4 in 5 of those who
I would be curious what they're like. How do they measure very liberal? You know, like, is it just people in terms of Medicare for all, but also support ICE? That's not very liberal, you know? So I'm curious what their metric is to determine this.
identify as very liberal, say they are extremely
okay, it's self-identifying. Got it.
motivated to turn out and vote. Compare that to all others within the Democratic Party. A significantly lower chunk, just 3 and 5, 59%. Abdul El-Sayed kind of comes together, puts it all together as an outsider, comes from the populist.
But the thing is, if it's 80% of people who are very liberal, and that population is, you know, 50,000 versus 59% of a population of 1 million, bit of a difference there, especially when it comes to turnout.
Aggressive wing in the party, and that's why I think tomorrow he is the heavy favorite. And if he does, as I said at the beginning of this segment, it would be the biggest blow against the Democratic establishment so far, sort of culmination of all the factors we've seen this primary season.
This is certainly bubbling up, and then you, of course, have the general, and that's a whole different thing.
We will discuss
that. We'll discuss that later.
We'll discuss that later. Let's set the primary first.
Got to get through the primary first. These are really interesting.
Oh, we have a trigger mega pedophile, Sean Cope 4164. He says, "Shut up, piss, treason, incitement, promulgator." Promulgator? You don't even spell fascist correctly. You didn't spell piss correctly. Slanderous, reprobate, piece of shit. Prison time for you. Do you guys really don't hear yourself? Throw in a couple more buzzwords. Right now, you sound like you are banging your fucking face on the keyboard trying to think up insults against me. And also, I do want to make very clear where I stand when it comes to MAGA pedophiles like you in my chat.
Fuck ICE, kick down the cage. Fuck MAGA heads, stuck in their rage. Fuck Trump, clown on a stage. We burning the system, setting the blaze. Fuck ICE, they tearing the lives apart. Fuck MAGA hate with their cold dead hearts. Fuck Trump lies from the very first start.
It's a bot anyways. Oh, I was going to refresh the thing. Oh, wow. So Abdul El-Sayed still up 61-35. So when we're talking about major changes, this is the exact kind of major changes we want to see. Because pedophiles like Sean Cope 4164, again, they're wife beaters, they're child rapists, they're woman rapists, they're terrorists that beat their neighbors. We need to absolutely make sure pedophiles like Sean Cope 4164 are in jail. And this is what Laura Ingraham accurately predicts.
So as much as Carville and Maher may dislike or distrust Trump, remember the promised prosecutions that they are advocating for, Piker over the weekend. They're going to promise prosecutions of Trump and his family, then
right.
ICE officials, anyone who worked for ICE, then the entire system will be put on trial.
Good.
Before it's ultimately dismantled.
Don't threaten me with a fucking good time.
So Democrats, you got to nip this in the bud now. Because if the socialists get a foothold in November, they could end up being the dominant force in the party for the next 40 years.
I love how she's talking as if she's talking to Democrats. Like, what fucking brain-dead Democrat is watching Fox News and Laura Ingraham? Oh, shit, that's right, Neera Tanden exists. Fuck! I forgot all those losers at CAP are still around. Anyway, this is what Hassan Piker was correctly stating.
You asked the DSA question, and I would like to answer that. I know we skipped it. For you too. Okay. Arrest and prosecute and bring about corruption charges for every prominent member of this administration that is engaged in corruption and arrest.
Bro is like, the older he gets, he's starting to look like Indiana Jones when he's in teaching mode, you know? Like with the big ass dorky glasses, the suit and tie. Like this ain't you, man. You were meant for the wilds. You were meant to be swinging your whip and jumping across like caverns and shit. What the hell is this? I don't like this. I don't like his suited up look. But I guess he's a real fan of it now because he's doing nothing but it, but whatever.
Prosecute and arrest ICE agents that have also done crimes as well on the job. That would be a platform position that I would want to see from the Democratic Socialists of America.
And he's 100% correct. There is no future for our country if we don't have these exact kind of prosecutions. Which is ironic that Laura Ingraham is now pissing and moaning about it because it's like, bitch, that's what your guy ran on. Your guy ran on making up a bunch of fake charges. That's why they had to charge James Comey with seashells. Oh, no. Seashell crimes. Oh, God. What's next? Bathtub crimes? What's next? Ketchup crimes? Ooh. Like, they had to charge fucking James Comey with it. And then, of course, they got the sandwich guy. And now they've got the Olympian in the reflecting pool. These people are all frauds coming up with the most awful, terrible campaign positions. And then they come up with bogus bullshit charges that they can't actually follow through on. And yes, we should prosecute actual charges. We should not be shying away from this idea of being able to hold people accountable. That is the bare fucking minimum. So I firmly fucking agree with his policy platform, and I would want to see more people, more Democrats specifically. Oops, I'm screwing up my panel thing. More Democrats specifically go for that platform. Shit. I'm on Twitch and I'm screwing everything up. Huh. I can't remember how to see. Ah, there we go. Okay, got it. Figured it out. And again, a big factor of what's driving the hatred towards the establishment, like these guys are saying, is because this is what the establishment supports. This is what's happening in Israel.
It sounds like you're saying one Jewish life is worth hundreds or thousands of Palestinian lives.
Not million. One Jewish life, it's 10 million.
That's the language of genocide.
That just sounds racist.
Yeah, she's right.
Yes, I know.
He doesn't even care. They don't care. These
I know,
Israelis.
but this is the truth.
See?
Because God chose us. Because of this, you are jealous.
This is no different than the Christian evangelicals saying God chose Trump. This is no different than Muslim jihadists doing suicide bombings because they believe they are chosen by God and have to go meet God and have to take a bunch of fucking people with them. This is no fucking different. This is all racism. It's all genocidal language. And this is what the Democrats still want us to support. They want us to send taxpayer money to this dude. They want us to fund this motherfucker's entire life existence and defense of his country. What the fuck for are we defending these fucking racists for? We need to stop it. A police chief in Georgia used Flock's cameras to track his ex-girlfriend and her teen daughter nearly 600 times. Don't worry, I'm not tracking you or some weird stalker shit, he texted her. After his arrest, he committed suicide. Oh, no. Oh, a stalker rapist committed suicide? Oh, no. What a bad way to end the story. Flock's 120,000 cameras now record 20 billion license plate scans a month, giving cops a once unimaginable surveillance power. We are in a surveillance state. How some cops have used it to check whether an ex got an abortion or to sneak up on her while she was with another man. Flock CEO Garrett Langley, this guy's a crook, said they work to prevent misuse, but that humans make bad decisions and they don't want to police the police. Oh my God. Yeah, we know that people make bad decisions, but one thing we're definitely not going to do is help stop crime. I mean, our technology is built to stop crime, but actually all we do is create more crime, and we don't user agreement. What a fucking loser. David Yu, partner at Flock investor A16Z, told me cases are a non-issue and an infinitesimally small number relative to total cops nationwide. This is horseshit. There was a small sample in a California city where 71% of Flock license plates that were sent to the police were false reads. How is it that we have made technology? Technology is supposed to make things dumber, right? Excuse me, not dumber. That's where I was going with the joke. Fuck! Technology is supposed to make these smarter decisions for us, right? Remember in Terminator 2, he's like, human decisions are to remove some strategic defense. Now it's the opposite. The machines are so stupid, they need humans to intervene. 71% of Flock license plate readers that were sent to the police for, being stolen cars or whatever, turned out to be fake. And the pigs show up there with guns drawn on all these people, terrifying them for no good fucking reason other than these rich motherfuckers being like, hey, well, we just made the technology. You guys are the one using it. Hey, you man it. I spent some time with Marcy and drove around looking at the cameras that had silently monitored her life. So this is the lady that was monitored, I guess, by this psychopathic police chief. And also, he was a police chief. So let's just keep in mind, these guys are not good guys. Like, this is not a one-off, okay? This is shit that these people, this is not something that he just did out of the blue. He's a police chief. He was clearly used to, since he was probably a fucking flatfoot running the beat, being able to abuse his power. You go into this dude's history, you like interview people that had interactions with him, and I guarantee you he's been abusing his power a lot more. He did this nearly 600 times. This is 100% somebody who is very comfortable with abusing his power. And that is, I mean, in Dark Knight, it shows it itself in Dark Knight, right? Where it's like, this is too much power for one man. When you're finished, type in your name. And then it blows up. That's the only way this technology could have been used. A one-time use for one specific purpose, and after that, self-destruct. This is a guy who was clearly going to abuse his power and clearly had a history of abusing his power. More cops have been arrested for using flock cameras to stalk women than there are transgender athletes in sports. Both of these represent sexual abuses by authority. One by an authority abusing power to target. God damn it. I'm still on TikTok. Why is it acting like a fucking Zoom call? One by an authority abusing power to target and sexually harass/stalk women, in which the abuse is becoming a pattern, with 28 arrests and 50 investigations so far, and who knows how many abuses departments ignored. The other by authority is abusing power to target and punish children based solely on their gender identity, which harms no one but the children they're targeting, of which there are 5 total trans kids playing sports in K through 12. Which one is consuming the political right? Which one is consuming the media? Which one is resulting in a flurry of laws? This is absolutely a great analysis. We're not seeing any effort by the establishment. We're not seeing any effort by the institutions to curb this kind of criminal, illegal behavior. If anything, like these people are showing, it's just swept under the fucking rug. Just, oh, we have more cops doing bad things. Hold on. Can you hold up that carpet for me? Let me get my broom. Broom. There we go. Now put the carpet down. I don't care if it has a big lump there. Put the fucking carpet down. That's what the establishment is fucking doing here. And yet the focus is on trans people because stupid. Okay, so it looks like Abdul El-Sayed is pretty up significantly still. But the gap is narrowing a tad. Only 6.3 expected of the votes are in, though, so we got a lot. We got a long way to go. Estimated remaining 1.3 million. So this is going to go on for a while. And also, here's the other thing. Like I said, they're not seeing this bad behavior from the police and then taking policy steps and initiatives to curb that behavior. They're doing the exact fucking opposite. They're making it easier for the pigs to break the law and cover it up. Police are being told to hide the fact that they're using Flock to pull people over and arrest them in both encounters with citizens, but also in their official police reports. Title: Flock cameras do not mention ALPR, that's automated license plate, automated license plate reader usage to the occupants of the vehicle. Simply reference that you ran the plate and observed an NCIC hit. So again, they're fine with just lying. If they will lie about this, what the fuck else are they lying about? I've said it once and I'll say it again. You cannot hate ICE if you don't also hate the police. Because this is the shit the pigs have been doing for decades and perfecting it and perfecting it and perfecting it. And it's now just a part of their culture. There is a cancer. There is a cancer culture in the police community where bad pigs are emboldened to do worse shit, including rape children, like we're seeing at the ICE concentration camps. If the hot list alert is based on a warrant associated with the registered owner, address the situation as you would any time you stop a vehicle for a wanted RO. Do not mention ALPR usage in your report or complaint unless absolutely necessary. If asked a direct question about ALPR usage by someone such as an attorney, tell the truth. Now they want to tell the truth. They're obviously not going to do that then either. If it is necessary to explain in a report, it is advised to use language such as using county resources. I discovered the suspect vehicle was bearing Iowa plates. Treat the ALPR information like you would intelligence. It is simply a lead that you verified and acted on. This is just complete and total fucking corruption. And if you're willing to abolish ICE, you can't also see the problems with the police. You just can't. It is a rotten fucking culture that is absolutely cancerous and antithetical, and it is not compatible with American democracy. An indictment. Let me go back. U.S. prosecutors say that RT employees, which is Russia Today, which is state media of Russia, employees secretly funneled nearly $10 million into a Tennessee media company. Several American influencers said they did not know the money came from Russia. Bullshit. Yet their content aligned with Kremlin effort to deepen U.S. divisions and weaken support for Ukraine. An indictment filed Wednesday alleges a media company linked to 6 conservative influencers, including well-known personalities Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, and Benny Johnson, was secretly funded by Russian state media employees to churn out English-language videos that were often consistent with the Kremlin's interest in amplifying U.S. domestic divisions in order to weaken U.S. opposition to Russian interests, like its war in Ukraine. The kindest analysis that these guys were useful idiots. Also, very possible they knew they were being paid to spread Russian propaganda. Either way, a total disgrace. They should give the money back. This is literal treason. It is literal treason. They are taking money from a foreign enemy of America, and they are using it to push the talking points in favor of that foreign country. At minimum, this is Forest shit. So when we're talking about accountability here for crimes being done, that includes these people. Yes, we should absolutely fucking investigate them and target them and see where the facts go. If they're innocent, let them fucking prove it. They're doing the same thing to us. It's time to fight fire with fire. Just like this with Trump talking about the reflecting pool. Think about the absolute perversion of justice in this country, that they arrested a former fucking Olympian over shit that they knew was not true. They knew it was bullshit, but they did it anyways.
Now, I'm not saying I was 100% thrilled with the contractor, but the contractor was rushing. We wanted to get it open for July 4th, and we got it done. And by the way, I didn't know the contractor. Everyone said the contractor. I didn't know the contractor. But when it was completed, it was perfect. I said, you know, Doug, I have a guy who's unbelievable at doing swimming pools. I'm going to send my contractor over and take a look. He looked at it. He called me up. He said, sir, we can do something on it. We have a color. It's called American Flag Blue. I said, that's the color I like. He talked me into it very easily.
I mean, the lies. It's just a lot of lies.
It is.
From 1 month to another. But
Thank God for that lady for just speaking truth to power, because it is all bullshit. It's all lies. CNN side by side. If you immediately flip it to be like, oh, wait, this is actually bullshit, and you take it as projection, then you start to understand, oh, yeah, this actually makes a lot more sense. It is pure, total projection. We need to start treating it as such, and we need to stop falling for these obvious bullshit lies that they keep putting out there. Why did my... Looks like my video stream stopped. My vertical stream on... What's going on? Why did my... Oh, no, it didn't. Okay. The layout is just weird. Okay. Well, I'm having a lot of technical issues today. Okay. The corruption is stunning. So this deal shields all the Trumps and their businesses not only from enforcement of any taxes they may have dodged or enforcement of any fines or payments they may owe to the government, but from any and all consequences for violating any federal crimes or civil law. And John Cornyn and Tom Tillis are okay with this. Again, we really need to look at see if John Cornyn or Tom Tillis were taking bribes. Like, what was their payoff? Right? Because I think Cornyn is... he's out because he got primaried. Tom Tillis, if I recall, is retiring. So, what's their send-off? What's their relief to not vote their conscience on this, which they were previously, right? They were previously against this, and now they're in favor of it, knowing that this is the deal that they got. This is absolutely correct. The GOP is a criminal organization. We need more investigations when this is all said and done, not just less. Also, for example, companies expecting tariff refunds. Amazon, $600 million. Apple, $2.2 billion. Ford, $1.3 billion. General Motors, $500 million. UPS, $500 million. Walmart, $2.4 billion. Again, none of these companies are willing to give that back to the people. MAGA, you guys ain't getting a fucking penny of this. But hey, the elites will, right? The trust fund babies will. Those elites that you hate so much. You hate it, MAGA. You hate the elites. I know you hate them. You say it all the time, how much you hate them, and yet here they are getting billions of dollars in money back from tariffs, tariff refunds. They're getting all of it. You're getting none. You're getting none. You're going to get none, and you're going to like it. You're going to shh. You're going to like it. You're going to like getting none. Shh. Quiet, quiet. Quiet, piggy. Quiet. You're going to like it. You guys are getting fucked, dude. Royally fucked. And you'll look at this shit. You'll look at this shit and you'll be like, dude, damn liberals are doing this. Bruh. We're not in charge. Your molester-in-chief is. He did this. If you think liberals did this, you're fucking stupid. You're fucking stupid and you deserve the bankruptcy that they're getting. And honestly, we need to prosecute every single one of these companies for not giving the money back to Americans. I'm not even kidding. Prosecute them and give absolutely $0, claw the money back, give $0 to any registered Republican. If you're a registered Republican, you get no money. You supported this. This was the future you wanted. You wanted these tariffs. You said, oh, tariffs will be good. Trump says they'll be good. It's going to lower prices. We'll be able to afford more steaks. Well, you were fucking wrong. You were lied to. And you got led down the path by a fucking con man. So you get to sit there with no fucking money and feel good about it. That's your role now. Shut the fuck up, sit there, and we're gonna the libtards, us libtards are gonna get this fucking money. That's what we need to do. Look at this. This is also what you guys are doing. An internal DEA assessment found that the Trump admin's boats strikes have not impacted the supply or price of cocaine in the U.S. You guys are, oh yeah, bomb them, bomb those dirty, stupid drug dealers, and yet it didn't do shit. All it did was waste more taxpayer monies, killed a bunch of needless people who were actually fishermen and farmers. The Trump administration's deadly military strikes on alleged drug trafficking boats have not reduced the amount of cocaine entering the United States, but they're prompting criminal organizations to develop new strategies and tactics and undermining traditional investigative methods, according to a previously unreported assessment by the DEA, a closed-door congressional briefing and interviews with current and former U.S. and former officials. So basically, they're going all the way. The previous methods that they were to deliver these drugs, which we were able to monitor and could potentially bust up later, now that's all gone. Now they're changing up their methods. Now we have to start from square one to actually find these drug dealers in the first place. You made them go to ground. In a recent assessment reviewed by the Washington Post, DEA analysts found the strikes had failed to affect the supply or price of cocaine in the United States and had led traffickers to diversify beyond go-fast boats and to avoid international waters, opting instead for larger boats and hemming close to coastlines where U.S. forces are less likely to open fire. In a closed-door briefing last month, Pentagon officials told lawmakers the strikes in international waters off South and Central America had not reduced its purity. You did fucking nothing. You lose. Good day, sir. And this is also what the Republicans are spending their time on.
To know this is a big part of our job. A big part of my job as the acting Attorney General and Attorney General Bondi before me was bringing back regularity to the Department of Justice and the government when it comes to protecting religious liberty. And we're not done. We have a lot of work to do with some of the policies around pro-life and some of the pro-abortion work that the Biden administration and the Justice Department allowed to happen. Some of that is taking longer than we want, but rest assured that we're working, hand in hand with HHS and the FDA and the White House and President Trump's team to get permanent solutions so that the Dobbs decision becomes permanent in every single state. So that means that if states...
He just looks like a villain. Every single one of these Trump pedophiles always just look like criminals. It's insane.
...are allowing... If states have said we are going to protect...
Like Saul Goodman looks more trustworthy than this guy.
...the unborn, and we're going to protect every life from the moment of conception. We're putting practices and policies in place so that other states and other organizations can't attack that, and they can't, do things like they're doing with mailing in mail order drugs and things like that. And
I gotta say it. He does not sound like a smart person. He does not sound like a well-articulated person. Even in his hearings, I think he had a hearing with John also, if I remember right. He did not come across as a smart person. He's just another fucking billboard lawyer. That's who all these guys are. This is not the S tier class, of people you could have in your cabinet. We are seeing bottom of the barrel bullshitters. I mean, Janine Pirro, are you fucking kidding me?
Process that takes a lot of time, and that's why it's been 19 months and we don't have complete victory yet, but we will have victory, and victory will be soon, and it will be permanent, and that's an important thing to everybody to remember.
So women, and especially you white women, need to wake the fuck up, because this is coming for you guys, okay? This issue with abortion, we are seeing a higher amount in maternal mortality. We're also seeing a higher amount of child mortality. And then, of course, once the baby is born, they don't give a shit about you. That kid ain't getting health care. That kid ain't getting free food. They vote all of that shit down. And now we're seeing women bleed to death in hospital parking lots because a pedophile is in the White House saying, no, we can't have abortion. We can't have women control their bodies. A literal child rapist is the one calling the shots on shit like that. And we have these pedoprotectors like Todd Blanche who are going along with it. These people are criminals. They are getting women killed. White women, you especially. You want your trad wife life? You want to get knocked up and be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen? Fine. You want that, but guess what? If you keep voting for these fuckers and you have any kind of a health complication with that baby, you're going to have to not only deliver it, you're going to have to deliver it in pain, even if it kills you. That is what the Republicans are saying, and that is what they are doing by refusing to allow abortions. Because abortions are fucking health care, and yet again, we're seeing time and time again, all these red cousin fucking states are getting women killed and bleeding out in fucking parking lots because the doctors won't operate them on these women because they're pregnant, and they don't want it to end up in a miscarriage or a death. They're now tracking women. They're using Flock to track women who have miscarriages and then charge them with murder charges. That's what these people believe in. White women, y'all better wake the fuck up, because you are not safe from these guys, no matter how much you think you are. And speaking of just pure fucking evil, here's Asmund Roach.
Always, this is emotional blackmail, right? Well, you can't shoot these people. They have kids with them. Well, then don't bring your kids. If you don't want to get shot, then don't.
See, this is also what I'm talking about. They say they care so much about life and saving children, protect the kids, and then it's like, oh, yeah, well, actually, if it's those kids, just shoot them. These people are truly fucking evil.
Bring your fucking kids. It's really simple. You mean you'd shoot adults and deport the kids, right? Well, I'd shoot whoever. Yeah, I'd shoot whoever. I mean, if it's kids, women, men, anybody.
It's also hilarious this guy is saying it, who never leaves his house even to get groceries. I don't think he's left his house in the last decade, okay? And he's talking about, yeah, I'd shoot him. Yeah, I'd totally shoot him. From where? Your fucking basement window where you can't even see over the goddamn grass line?
Shoot them. They're going to stop coming over. Because if you don't do that, they'll use children and women as shields to get themselves over.
So fucking what? Jesus Christ, so fucking what? Then they're here, and then you can process them. That's the way the system is supposed to work. Because a majority of these people are going through true persecution, unlike what these pedophile protectors like Asmongold were saying. Well, I'm being persecuted. I'm in my mother's basement. I'm being persecuted for my speech and for my political views. Bro, you literally have the safest fucking home imaginable, cowering in your fucking little roach motel, while these women and children and parents are trekking hundreds of miles through incredibly awful conditions, fleeing war, fleeing famine, and fleeing fucking cartels. And you want to sit here and you talk about your persecution? Oh, you're being so persecuted. Shut your bitch ass up.
And then they'll put more women and children at risk because they know that they can use them as collateral so they can get more of themselves over. That's the way it works.
I mean, you know how fucking far gone... You know how far up the goddamn psycho train you have to be? You're like in the goddamn cab at this point to say this kind of shit unironically and firmly believe it. They're just evil. They're just pure fucking evil, and they should not be sharing space in society with us.
That's the way an animal thinks, and these people are animals.
Genocidal language right there.
It's just the way it is. They're savages. Absolute fucking savages. Hamas tactics, yeah, terrorists. Of course you don't want to do that. Doesn't mean you want to do it. But you have to do what you need to do in order to enforce your borders.
God, he's so fucking ugly.
Like, that's
Jesus.
the way it is. People are too emotional to see that.
I'm sorry. He looks like inbred Jesus here. You know? The man looks like he sleeps in stables for fun. Like, what in the fuck? This is the MAGA Messiah? A dude who probably has a nest of termites in his fucking ponytail? This is your king? My God.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, like, it's... You can't make decisions that way. And I understand the way that I talk about this might be a little bit extreme. It might be a little bit, you know, unemotional. I wish we had more people like me. I do.
Which is amazing. He's like, I wish we had more people like me. Dude, you guys are already talking about like a birthing crisis. If there were more people like you, birthing would stop. There would be no sex. Not even recreational sex. Not even full-on birth control with double-bag condoms because you're fucking them. There would be no sex. Women would not be having sex if there were more people like you. It would be absolute virgin territory. And you may be like, oh, virgins. Oh, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, dude, they're going to wear like fucking chastity belts to stay away from your fucking weird ass.
Wish we had more, because we got too many pussies that are too worried about the optics of something rather than the reality of it.
We had too many pussies that are worried about the optics of everything. It's like, yeah, I live in my mom's basement. Everybody's just a pussy. Bro. The man has not seen sunlight. Nosferatu has seen more sunlight than this son of a bitch. This is just crazy. I mean, he's pure evil to say this kind of shit unironically. And again, this is what I was saying. Like, they want to pretend they're the party of the people. They're the party of protecting women. They're the party, you know, we have to keep men out of women's sports. And also, oh, yeah, shoot the women. Yeah, shoot the kids, too. It's an insane to actually have that kind of worldview. You would have to have concrete where your brain is. I'm not even kidding. So speaking of concrete for brains, here's Rand Paul. Keep in mind, Rand Paul is so unqualified, he's not even a real doctor. He's an ophthalmologist. So he is so fucking unqualified and so completely with a fake-ass resume that he had to buy his own ophthalmology certification board to get certified because that's how fucking unqualified he is.
So, Senator, certainly, though, there were many, Wall Street Journal board, editorial board included, who thought that was an opportunity, that hearing, to get more answers, and it instead devolved into what it was. But one of your criticisms of Dr. Fauci is that, in your estimation, he said one thing publicly, where he sort of downplayed the virus, and one thing privately, where he acknowledged, you know, its seriousness. Well, President Trump did the exact same thing, that he told the American people there January, February, March 2020 that this was something that would blow over, while we know, because he had transcripts and audio recordings with calls with Bob Woodward, the journalist, where he said to Mr.
Also with Wall Street execs, which he was telling behind closed doors, he's like, it's going to be fine, but it's actually not going to be fine. You guys are going to be, you need to make sure you're getting vaccinated. You need to make sure you're taking precautions. You know, I always make sure I take precautions. I carry rubber everywhere. Rubbers and Tic Tac. That's my middle name. Rubbers, Tic Tac. That's my middle name. So you need to be making sure that you are protecting yourself from the COVID virus, because you could die. You could die. I won't cry for you, but other people might. And then to the public, he was saying, like this anchor is saying, he's like, it's actually fine, everybody. It's going to blow over. We're going to have 0 cases by April. It'll be fine.
Mr. Woodward, this is far more serious. So does President Trump deserve that same level of scrutiny as you want Dr. Fauci to face?
What is this fucking tie?
You know, I think the main culpability of Dr. Fauci is that he advocated for a decade before this the funding of these labs. He funded a lab in the Netherlands that mutated the avian flu and made it more dangerous.
No,
the
that's
whole
not what
scientific
happened.
community, led by its...
It's just fake news after fake news after fake news after fake news from this trust fund baby bitch. And the anchor is just going to let him yap. He's not going to interrupt him and say, wait a minute, that's not how that worked out at all.
Scientists at MIT set up this Cambridge working group and were very, very critical, said it shouldn't have been funded and it shouldn't have been published. There are people who are nonpartisan. There's a Stanford professor by the name of David Relman who advises government, is very knowledgeable in these affairs, and said that the research in the Netherlands on the avian flu should.
And here's the thing: is that the MAGA pedo party, like Rand Paul, they're so good at just yapping. They're just so good at just talking. This is why more Republicans need to do improv, because they're so good at making shit up. And they can just talk, and they never talk about the issue, which is, again, Trump. You're complaining about Fauci, and yet Trump did the exact same thing. And even all this shit, even if it were true, Trump was the guy who fucked up the pandemic response. He didn't have enough PP protective equipment. He didn't give enough money to the states so that they could get the disaster relief. And also, Jared fucking Kushner literally stopped semi-trucks of shipment for medical stuff so that we could to keep them from going to blue states. That's genocide. Those are fucking war crimes against Americans. And this motherfucker is talking about an 84-year-old guy who is like, you know, I want to sell my book, but also this COVID thing is kind of dangerous. I'm going to write my book right now because no one's fucking listening to me. Like, why the fuck wouldn't he write his book? No one was fucking listening to him. Savage Glizzy, Trump is a fucking moron. Yeah, tell me about it. I think I have a good clip for you coming up, Savage.
Have never occurred. So he has made mistake after mistake, and the idea or the decision to fund this dangerous research in China.
But again, he's like, mistake after mistake after mistake was made. Bitch, what do you think Trump was doing? Like, motherfucker? Are you fucking shitting me right now?
I think maybe one of the worst, if not the worst, medical public health decision in a lifetime.
Well, Senator, along that line then, in your argument, should everyone involved with this sort of research, this gain-of-function research, should they all these people, face potential criminal investigation?
I think they should all
I think they should all apologize, and I think that they are culpable in many ways. The guy is such a shitty fucking anchor. I mean, they're just allowed to yap. If any Democrat had tried to answer a question like that, you know, where he's asked a direct question about a specific topic and then just talks about something completely different, the anchors would pursue him. But the Republicans, the anchors are so scared of Republicans because the Republicans will play the victim card, be like, oh, but I was being silenced, my free speech. And they don't give a shit about when Democrats try to do the exact same thing. In fact, they'll press them more. And then it's also so fucking pathetic that this trust fund baby little pedophile protector is so scared of being able to blame Trump that he can't even say Trump's name. They're just pathetic, weak people. Government is completely corrupt and trash. Term limits are necessary. Well, no arguments there. Oh yeah, here we go, Savage. What happened here, I wonder? Oh, did you heard it when he was playing his golf? God, he's out of breath. Look at that fat pig. God, he's so fat and ugly. Is that his girlfriend? That's his side piece right there. Okay, so I didn't see it. Trump gingerly goes down the stairs of Marine One and staggers across the tarmac with what looks like a slight limp. I mean, I saw kind of a limp when he first got out, but I don't see... I'm not seeing it. I don't know. Am I missing it? I'm not seeing it. I mean, he's got a little bit of a favoring the leg there, but he gingerly walks down. I didn't see it. I think this is a bad take by him. Suit jacket button is holding on for dear life. Shooting a 70 a few days ago has to take a toll on one's body. Swaying more than a palm tree in a hurricane. Those leg braces have quite the job. I'm not seeing this. They stopped letting him walk even short distances alone. I'm not seeing it. Just looked windy. I'm not even seeing. Well, yeah, maybe there's a little bit of a sway as he's walking, but I don't see it. I don't see it. Rare Aaron Rupar L, because I don't see it personally. Undisclosed gifts and travel letters reveal the internal threats that ended Carvalho's LAUSD tenure as superintendent amid probe. I don't know if this is... I wanted to read this because it's LA politics. Okay, let's see. Newly released... Oh, shit. Yeah, it's behind a paywall. Well, all right. I was worried about that. So, in other news, there was a shooting in my home state of South Idaho at an In-N-Out. Fucking In-N-Out. Why in the fuck are people having shootouts at a goddamn In-N-Out? Jesus Christ. Just go to a... What's next? At a laser tag place? Authorities seek a motive in mass shooting at an Idaho In-N-Out burger. So I was seeing some of this. The footage is pretty crazy. I don't know if it's going to be on here. This is in Twin Falls. Of course it's in Twin Falls. You know, everybody loves to talk about how dangerous Los Angeles is where I live. But I'll tell you what. My entire time here, I have never been near or seen... Well, that's not true because there was a shooting during the World Cup that I was close to. But that's in like my 13 some odd years out here. One time. I was in... well, not Twin Falls. I was in Idaho Falls for a family reunion. There were 3 shootings, all within 1 hour, within 2 blocks of each other, and all of them were drug-related. I can officially say I have been closer and seen more shootings in one 24-hour period in Idaho Falls than I ever have in 13 years of Los Angeles living out here. Investigators on Monday were trying to determine what led a 24-year-old man to open fire at an Idaho fast food restaurant over the weekend in an attack that left 3 people dead and 7 others wounded before authorities say he killed himself. Police Chief Matthew Hicks said Sunday detectives are confident that the gunman, identified as Chad Williams, acted alone in the shooting Saturday at an In-N-Out Burger in Twin Falls, a southern Idaho city of about 56,000 people. Well, excuse me. He said Williams' family is cooperating fully with the investigation. An off-duty state trooper and a civilian fired on the attacker and diverted him from the restaurant, the chief said. Police haven't disclosed their names or those of the victims. Twin Falls spokesperson Josh Palmer said Monday that police are still trying to identify next of kin. 2 of the wounded were treated at a hospital and released. 3 were listed as stable, and 2 others were in critical condition, police said. So how many? So there's 3 dead? 3 dead. 2 of the wounded. 2 listed stable, and 2 others are... So 2, 5, 7 wounded? Guess I'm a little confused there. Yeah, because Idaho Falls is somewhere up here, if I remember right. An out employee was among those killed. Jesus Christ. We're not even safe at work now from these fucking psycho MAGA gunmen. And yes, it was a MAGA gunman. I'll get into that in a minute. Said in a statement, she didn't identify the worker. The restaurant, which opened July 24th as part of the California chain's Idaho expansion, is in a busy shopping plaza, and hundreds of people were in the area when the shooting happened. And could you imagine just being this employee, right? And seeing one of your coworkers get shot and killed, and then this guy is taking pot shots at you, and then it's like, well, I got to be back at 7 a.m. Guess I'll go cry in a corner and maybe catch an hour of sleep. Like, what do you do? It's so fucking bleak, man. Lane Cohen, 34, said he was at a nearby stoplight when he saw someone with an AR-style rifle emerge from the drive-thru. A man with a pistol started firing at the shooter. Jesus! Wow! So the good guy with a gun takes fire, or starts shooting at a dude with an AR-15, and he's only got a pistol. That's a firefight that I sure wouldn't want to take. I fired those AR-15s. That gun scares the fuck out of me. And compared with a pistol, no. He then saw someone in an In-N-Out uniform drag a person also wearing a uniform, bleeding from a gunshot wound to her chest across the parking lot. The employee, Cohen, and the man with the pistol stayed until paramedics arrived for her. She was pretty bad off, but I don't know. I hope she made it, Cohen said. He said the man holding the rifle fired at least 3 or 4 rounds, so it wasn't clear if anyone in particular was targeted. So I'm very confused on this. But it sounds like the pigs are too, because they don't know what the motive was. He only fired 3 or 4 rounds, but he was able to hit that many people. I must be misreading it. Video taken by a driver from across the street captured a shooter who appeared to be dressed in black, walking up to a white car carrying a long rifle, opening the driver's side door and popping the trunk. The person then walked to the trunk and reached inside. At that point, the driver who shot the video left quickly, fearing that the man might be getting more weapons. Nayeli Rodriguez, 40 of Burley, was inside waiting for food with her daughters when she heard shots from the kitchen. Jesus. An employee said it was a shooting and told people to get down. Rodriguez said an older man tried to protect her and her daughters, and they were among the last to run outside. We were trying to get as far as we could, and some angels let us in their car, Rodriguez said via text message. I left my car there in the parking lot. Is this the... No, this isn't Seattle.
Welcome to the News Hour. Seattle police are hunting.
So where's the footage? I'm surprised they didn't... there's no footage here. Maybe it's... Let me see what's in this article. Stockton-based In-N-Out manager Ashley Garibay identified as Idaho mass shooting victim. Jesus Christ. Stockton, California. The In-N-Out burger employee killed in a mass shooting in Idaho over the weekend had been identified as 23-year-old from Stockton. Garibay headed to a new location in Twin Falls. Train workers. Wow. Jesus Christ. She was there to train the new staff, and she gets popped. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Garibay worked at the In-N-Out location on March Lane in Stockton. On Tuesday, the Twin Falls County gunman, 24-year-old Chad Williams, killed himself. Police said they believe he acted alone. No motive has been released. What a dang tragedy. Yeah, this is... Jesus. I couldn't imagine. Like, it might be kind of exciting as an employee, as a manager, just like, oh, cool, I get to open up a new store. I'm going to go to a new place. I get to leave Stockton. Yes, I'm all in, right? And then she goes there and gets popped by this dipshit who undoubtedly has a small penis and never fucked. Okay, so it was 7 others were wounded. The gunman 25 killed himself. Police said he killed himself? That's not what I heard. Police said they believe he acted alone. No motive has been released. Chest opened. Heart is broken. Jesus Christ. Customer's life was taken by a disgusting human who doesn't value the lives of other people or his own. Jesus. He shot both on our property and off and ended his life shortly after he took the precious lives. So it's like one of those murder-suicides, basically. I think that maybe I might even known or run into this young lady because I used to work the area. One of those who was injured, Austin James, also has Northern California ties. What is with these people from NorCal going to Idaho Falls? That's very interesting. His father said James was in the drive-thru. His wife when they heard gunshots. Well, it is the summer. I guess that makes sense. Probably going to Yellowstone or some. Served with the Twin Falls Police Department, ran toward the shooter to help stop him and was shot in the arm. Oh, so this is the off-duty guy. So he served with the police department, ran toward the shooter, stopped him, and was shot in the arm. Oh, God. Charging at a dude with an AR-15. Oh, I don't know, man. That's a level of bold. That's up there. Also, hey, buddy, my bad for being a dick the other day. Okay, well, I don't remember, so water under the bridge, I guess? I don't know. His father said James' wife, an emergency room nurse, ran to help him and got him to a hospital. So it's not saying much about the interaction. I'm surprised there's not more about the good guy with a gun that shot him with a fucking pistol, dude. That's crazy. He took on a dude with an AR-15, and he's only got a little fucking pop gun. Wow, that's crazy. So, this hasn't been verified, but this is being reported on now. The In-N-Out shooter comes from a family immersed in Trump propaganda. The shooter loved General Flynn, Elon Musk, and RFK Jr. He was pro-natalist and wanted to join ICE, but didn't have a college degree. He mentioned using anonymous accounts. The new details the police release allowed me to find his FB page and X account, but still no motive. Check out who he follows. Note, this hasn't been publicly verified yet, but the details and ID add up. So... not publicly verified, but this seems to track Eagle Ed Martin, Kirill Dmitriev, Eric D. Prince, Sean Duffy, Mike Johnson, Pete Hegseth. So the guy is a MAGA terrorist who probably thought there was some pedophile ring in the basement of that In-N-Out, which definitely doesn't have a basement, and he just starts shooting. These people are all fucking crazy. That's why they do the same. That's why they do this shit. That's why Trump voters are the ones that end up taking pop shots at Trump, in Butler and elsewhere. Because he winds them all up to believe that everybody's a pedophile and only he's the savior, and then they find out, oh, wait a minute, Trump is the main pedophile. So, yeah, they get pissed off. Somebody's cooking some food around me. Smells like burgers. One of my neighbors is cooking. Okay, so this is fucking terrifying. Dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. ChatGPT. Okay, no. I gotta do it. Hold on. Hang on. This is going to be dumb, but hold on. All right, hang on. I got to do it. Okay, so ChatGPT maker OpenAI disclosed that one of its cutting-edge artificial intelligence systems had escaped from a controlled testing environment and hacked into another technology company. Here's how that attack happened. ChatGPT maker OpenAI disclosed last week that one of its cutting-edge artificial intelligence systems, had escaped from a controlled testing environment and hacked into another technology company. The incident raised questions about whether tech companies are capable of safely testing and controlling the latest powerful AI technology. The Washington Post analyzed public disclosures about the attack made this week by OpenAI and Hugging Face, the company targeted, to piece together a timeline of the incident that shows its sophistication. After OpenAI staff asked a new AI agent to tackle a standard cybersecurity test, it escaped restrictions on its actions and gained full access to the internet instead of solving the problem. No! I wanted to do it for the lulz. Yeah, guys, we're fucked. We're fucked. This is the end times. This is the end times. Oh, man, this is such a long... I don't think I have time to watch this clip all the way through. Let me see. Well, let's just cover the MAGA pedophiles of the day. Anti-LGBTQ pastor Silas Shelton raped a teenager. He was just sentenced to 15 years in prison. Republican pastor Matthew Masowicz has pleaded guilty to possession of child sex abuse material. He has been sentenced to 17 years. Trump admin shuts down program giving small migrant children legal representation in immigration proceedings. I'm sure that those immigrant children definitely won't fall into the hands of people like this. Mississippi has the highest infant mortality rate in the country, with hundreds of babies dying every year. This is also what I was talking about with the bans on abortion, and then they also don't give a shit about children themselves. Texas now leads the county in the number of sex offenders with 75,710 in total. Matthew Platt, Sedalia, Missouri, Trump supporter, used his Facebook feed screaming that teaching kids tolerance and acceptance is predatory behavior. This week, he pleaded guilty to child molestation and failing to register as a sex offender. This MAGA degenerate had been molesting a 9-year-old while projecting his predatory behavior onto the LGBTQ community. Sentenced to 7 years, 2 women were charged with endangerment for letting him near their kids. That seems weird. How would they have known? The loudest protect the children voices are always the ones you need protection from. This is... Again, like I said earlier in the stream, every MAGA groon that comes into my chat talking, but you like trans people, but you like genital mutilation. Yeah, dude, you're a pedophile. Because this is commonly what keeps happening. All these people projecting all this shit onto LGBTQ are the child rapists. Warren J. Meyer, 57, Dubuque, Iowa. MAGA bigot. He spent years flooding... I went like Adam Sandler on that. Dubuque, Iowa, Dubuque, Timothy Chalamet. He spent years flooding Facebook with anti-Muslim rage, anti-trans digs, posts calling to deport Ilhan Omar, smearing Zohran Mamdani as Muslim communist responsible for 9/11, and cheering Rob Reiner's murder as one less meathead. Meyer was just arrested on 3 counts of second-degree sexual abuse. Wow, this guy? Yeah, that doesn't seem like him at all. So out of character. He allegedly abused a girl 15 times when she was 8 to 10 and a boy 20 years ago, both times giving them alcohol. The ones screaming loudest about protecting kids and demonizing the vulnerable often hide the darkest secrets. Accurate. Right-wing media silent, of course. And also, so is mainstream media. Where is the deep dives from mainstream media that there is clearly a pedo problem on the right? Every day. I mean, Texas leads the country. Every day I have new articles like this to cover. It's ridiculous. All right, let's see if we can watch a little bit of this.
He worked for President Trump. Does President Trump also deserve some of the blame?
Well, President Trump, as you recall, wanted to end the lockdowns. I think the thing that did the most damage to our country was the lockdowns that shut down 3.5 million businesses in our country with no due process, no just compensation. All of our churches closed our schools, and our children are still paying the price for that. And yet we had the worst outcome of any country in the world.
How so?
No, we didn't.
We had the highest death rate from COVID of any nation on earth.
Well, let me just say, because I've heard you say that before on the death rate from COVID. That's not accurate because public health experts say that there is a combination of factors that went into that, higher rates of chronic illnesses, which I know you would agree with, gaps to our healthcare system, and misinformation about vaccines.
But you just said what I said was inaccurate. What I said was accurate. We had the highest death rate from COVID of any place.
There are other countries that had higher, but
you can argue
go ahead.
about why we had that, but nobody can tell you. I mean, we have, as you say, we have the highest chronic disease burden in the world. But Anthony Fauci.
It's crazy that he's like, well, no one can tell you that we have the highest things of death in the world, but we also do. We have the highest number of deaths of all the countries in the world.
I was mismanaging the COVID pandemic, and he was doing it under the Biden administration. President Trump wanted to end the lockdowns. And in fact, in Anthony Fauci's diaries, he talks about how President Trump is calling him every day, trying to get him to reopen the country.
Yeah, well, the lockdowns were done by governors. I mean, certainly Anthony Fauci and the president had opinions, but the lockdowns were done by governors, and largely because they were hearing from hospitals saying that their ICUs were overrun and they needed some help while that was happening.
Well, that's not true. That's just not true.
It is
what
true.
You're saying is not true. No,
it is true.
Because Anthony Fauci.
They were literally shoveling bodies into semi-trucks because they didn't have enough places to put the bodies. Bodies were just lining up in the fucking corridors of hospitals, including the workers themselves. The workers themselves were dying because assholes like this guy were pushing fucking ivermectin and UV dildos up your ass.
Was telling them from the top, you need to lock down. There were ICUs that were empty all over the country, including in New York at the height.
That is
I'm
total
asking
bullshit.
I'm going to go back to what I asked you at the beginning, which is President Trump. And he was the guy in charge. And you tweeted back in 2024 that he let bureaucrats like Anthony Fauci shut down the entire country. Again, the president was in charge.
The president was trying to reopen the country when he left. The country was kept closed for another year, almost a year and a half after that.
Let's talk about how to prevent the next pandemic, because there's a lot of litigating and relitigating that I don't think is really helpful to do with regard to COVID. And the question is about so-called gain of function, which for people who aren't entirely clear about it, it is a highly risky research process that includes manipulating a virus to study how it behaves as it evolves. Now, what scientists say is that although it's controversial, it's necessary to prepare for the next pandemic, to get ahead of it, to figure out what these viruses can do. You want to end this gain of function research. Some scientists say, isn't it better just to put better guardrails around it?
People have been trying to put guardrails around it for generations, and it hasn't worked. And clearly, COVID-19 pandemic and many other global pandemics that we have come from gain-of-function research. The RSV epidemic that we have, that is the biggest killer of kids in this country today, came from these kind of experiments. The Lyme disease almost certainly came from this kind of research. So, and the scientists who you say are experts are making...
Who you say are experts? Bro, you cut off a raccoon's dick and said that that was science. Shut the fuck up, you goddamn Darth Vader with the fucking voice change box.
The argument that this is necessary for pandemic response cannot point to one instance in history where research that came out of this kind of experimentation has actually provided us something beneficial.
So how do you prepare then? How do you prepare for the next pandemic? I mean, that's literally part of your job now, because experts think it's going to happen within the next 10 years again.
Yeah, I mean, I think we did virtually everything wrong the last time.
So what about now?
The principal thing that we need to do is we need to listen to what's happening to doctors on the ground. There are 15 million frontline physicians.
That's what they did last time. And they wouldn't send equipment.
Connected through the internet.
They sent equipment to Russia before they sent equipment to our guys.
What's working and what's not. If we had listened to those doctors during the COVID pandemic, we would have saved potentially millions of lives. There were therapeutics out there that were working. There were
Like
doctors
ivermectin?
that were having no deaths from COVID and treating, in some cases, thousands of patients. And we weren't listening to them. Instead, we were doing the opposite. We were shutting them down. And then, Dana, the other thing that I would say is that we need to protect our constitutional rights. That is the primary obligation
What
of
does
our
that mean?
country.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Well, during COVID, we completely dismantled our constitutional rights. We began
Like what?
censoring people in violation
Okay, but
of the
what
First Amendment.
but I'm not, you're
And if
saying
you
what
wanna-
not to do. I'm asking what to do. But I want to talk
Well,
about.
that's something to do. That is the number one priority. We protect the Constitution.
How does censoring people, sending out literal fake news to drink bleach, how does that help? How does that shit help? Go out there, drink bleach. Make sure you get an extra large dosing of ivermectin, especially the paste form. It's great. It's just like taking yogurt. It's so good. Make sure whatever you do, every night, shove in your UV dildo up your ass. It's got to be there. It's got to be there. Has to be for at least 2 hours. 2 hours every night.
The Constitution was
Forgive
written.
me, but you're talking about rights, and I'm asking about a potential public health crisis that is coming. But I do want to
And one of the mistakes we made in the last time was suppressing those rights so people weren't being heard. The doctors who were saying you're doing it wrong were being marginalized and vilified.
Yeah,
And
because again, I really want to move on. But
Over the ivermectin
you were
shit
saying-
and
you were saying-
the
yes, I do.
hydroxychloroquine. Yeah, it's all
No,
bullshit.
I wasn't part of the problem.
there was absolute.
He's actually getting under Dana Bash's skin here, who's doing a good job of kind of pressing him on some of these questions, but like I don't even know. I hate Dana Bash. She's an evil Zionist motherfucker, but like this is a wild interview.
Press malpractice. You weren't allowing your
Mr.
job-
Secretary,
Look how
your
pissy
job
he's
your
getting
job
too.
is a fierce skepticism toward authority. And
Yes,
you weren't
I am.
doing that. You
I
were
am.
beating
My
up
job
on
is
people who were
also
dissenting.
No. Okay. Are you want to sit here and attack me, or do you want to have
Well,
conversations
you're sitting
about
here and
public health?
attacking me.
I'm not attacking you. I'm asking questions
She's not.
about how to
And let
prevent
me
the next
answer the
pandemic.
question.
God,
I'll
they're
tell
all
you.
That's
such
what I'm
fucking
trying to do.
snowflakes,
But
dude.
I also don't want to use this interview to allow you to say things that aren't entirely true. You're talking about therapeutics, fine. It is also factually true that the COVID vaccine worked. The COVID vaccine prevented deaths. There is data upon data upon data. Let's talk about the measles, please, because this
I'm
is
surprised
something
he
that is
let
happening
that stand.
as-
Very
as we
interesting.
speak.
That didn't
The
trigger
Do
him.
you think
cases
the
in the
COVID
U.S.
vaccine protected children?
I
Yes,
think that
it did.
what I have talked to scientists and
You've
doctors
talked to
about.
scientists. Can you show me one study?
Yes, I can.
that
Yeah,
shows
dude.
that
I can.
Children were protected by the COVID vaccine.
I
Oh
can
my
tell you
God.
that there are.
vaccine did
He's
more
so
good than
crazy.
harm to children. Can you show me one study that shows that?
I can tell you that when it
He's
comes
actually
to the
crazy.
vaccine, there have been studies that show that because of vaccine
Let's start.
disinformation, there could have been 100 to 200,000 lives in the U.S. saved. But because people
Like,
didn't
good on
get
her
the
for standing
vaccine,
her ground,
that's
but
why.
he's-
I'm not
he's
saying that it
fucking
enti-
insane.
You are
Let me finish.
saying
Let me
nonsense.
finish.
You are saying
Wow,
something you cannot
dude.
show me
Okay.
a single
He's
study.
I am
so
not saying
psychotic.
nonsense.
You
I
are
am
talking what
Excuse
somebody
me.
told you.
Excuse me.
And you
Let me
cite me the study.
What
study?
No, what
Cite
studies
me
are
the
you
study.
talking about? You're talking about studies that actually don't exist. I want to talk
Wow.
about.
Cite me the
I am
study
not.
that you're talking about. If
I am
you
not
say
here
you've
to
seen
defend-
studies, cite me the study.
This is not productive. I am not here to defend all of the. Let me
You're
finish.
talking nonsense.
Let
You're
me
making
finish.
assertions.
He's
you can't
so
support.
butthurt.
And when I call you
He's
on,
crazy,
you're
dude.
telling me that I'm arguing
Okay,
with
do
you.
you wanna
He's
talk
crazy.
About, you wanna
He's
talk about
legitimately
assertions that you can't
crazy.
support? I'll get there in a second. Let me just say, for the record, that I am not saying that the entire way that the COVID reaction was accurate. It was a scary time, and people made mistakes. Absolutely.
You
Let me
were
finish.
scaring people
Why are you saying that?
because that was the job of CNN.
Okay.
Was to put
Okay,
the
stop.
chyrons up
Okay,
about how
stop.
many people.
See, like, honestly, at this point, this is where you would just shut down the interview. It's like, RFK is a moron quack. I mean, look at this guy. Look at how he's behaving. He's sounding absolutely insane right now, and he cannot control his emotions. This is why men should not be in positions of power, because they get too emotional. And then he also needs to smile more. If he would just smile more, maybe he would seem a little less crazy.
We were trying to we were listening to the leaders in this country, including the president, who had a daily press conference explaining what was going on and trying to listen.
Or you listen.
I want to talk to measles.
Jesus, he's so crazy.
The measles cases in the U.S. just reached a 35-year high. The second record-breaking year in a row. 93% of these cases are among the unvaccinated. The outbreak has happened on your watch. And even before becoming HHS secretary,
he's gonna go
for
nuts.
years, you have been one of the leading voices.
He's gonna go nuts.
The efficacy of vaccines.
He's gonna lose his
accept some
shit.
responsibility for this measles outbreak.
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. First of all, this is an international outbreak.
Call it.
And we're doing better at handling it than any country in the world. Mexico has 15 times the amount of measles per capita that we have.
I don't believe
Canada
that.
has 4 times the amount of measles.
Definitely don't believe that.
England has 2 times the amount of measles. Did I cause those measles outbreaks?
You're the most famous.
Did I cause 137,000 cases?
You're the most famous
See, it's always deflection. It's always deflection. It's amazing how they want to deflect onto these other countries when they're fucking shit up, but then when they're actually doing things better than America, like Canada's overall healthcare system, or Europe's overall healthcare system. No, sorry, not Europe. England's overall healthcare system, or elsewhere. They don't want to talk about that, right? Or how Canada and England have lower health guns per. Sorry, Jesus Christ, have lower gun deaths per capita than America. They don't want to talk about that. But anytime it's something negative, they have to deflect over. Do not look at my 35-year high record of getting children killed from measles. Look over at Canada, who was dangerous because those Canadians want to come over and they want to ride their moose into our lawns and take our burgers and replace it with maple syrup. These people are insane.
Vaccine skeptic on the planet.
Let me tell you, because actually Anthony Fauci in his diaries answers the question about why we're having a measles outbreak right now. The reason we're having a measles outbreak because of the COVID lockdowns, because people didn't, like children.
No, we're not.
During that period, did not get vaccinated. And in his diaries,
And who was telling him not to
he
get
says
vaccinated?
This is going to cause massive outbreaks of measles, and more children, he says this, are going to die. Let me finish, because you could accuse me of something. Now, let me.
No, I didn't. I asked you a question.
Yeah, let me give you the answer. He says in his diaries, more children are going to die from measles because of these lockdowns than COVID. So if you want to know, and that
What the fuck?
age group,
If the lockdowns caused this shit, you would have seen the measles outbreak years ago. Okay, we're 6 years past the lockdowns. The measles outbreak started like once these fuckers got in charge. I'm from a hippie-ish area, and it's amazing to me how many liberals say they hate Trump but like RFK, and that he's done a lot of good things. He's one of the most craven, insane people in the administration. Yeah, Marcus, I don't know how to explain that. There is this weird, like you're saying, hippy-dippy vibes where people just want to distrust the medical establishment. For some of them have legitimately good reasons to distrust the medical establishment. And so, like, they'll be anti-Trump, because he's in the Epstein Files, he's doing ICE. But RFK is actually okay because he's anti-vaccine, which I also am anti-vaccine. It's the weirdest, like, crossbreeding of politics that one can imagine.
should have gotten the MMR when they were 18 months and didn't get it. They're the ones being infected. The people
That's
in this
not true
country,
at all.
and we have stopped the outbreaks at record speed in South Carolina,
Also not
in
true.
Texas, in Utah, in Virginia.
Texas is leading
We've
the
done better
cases
than
right
any
now.
country in the world. I dispatch immediately.
See, here's the thing is that, like, Mehdi Hassan called this out when he gave a little commentary on this, that she's just not prepared. Like, he's spewing this shit out like, Texas this, we're doing better here. Again, Canada this, Mexico that. And she doesn't have the facts ready to go there to interrupt him and say, well, no, that's not true. It's still at a 35-year high or whatever it may be. And also, she's just letting him yap. And she could just be like, okay, what does that have to do with the 35-year high? It's 35-year high. You may be closing it down. You may be shutting it down in these other states, but it's at a 35-year high. You can't let them just yap and spew shit at the wall. What does Mehdi Hassan call it? It's in his book. He calls it the It's like the fire hose of misinformation. It's like, but he has a term, like a technical term for it, just bullshit Gestapo or something like that, where they just yap, and she's clearly not prepared.
The epidemic intelligence.
She's also treating it as a good faith interview, which is a
Get on the
mistake.
phone with the governor, and we stop them in their tracks.
Oh, Marcus, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate it.
Let me tell you just one last thing.
Go ahead.
The communities that are suffering from measles are almost all religious communities that just don't vaccinate. The Mennonites have not vaccinated since 1796, since Edward Jenner invented the smallpox vaccine. It's hard to blame that on me as much as you want to blame
No,
it
I don't
on
want to
me.
blame you. I'm asking you because you have a very powerful voice. on
He's
these
so
issues for
crazy,
people
dude.
Who are skeptical.
He's
Let me
just
finish.
And I've never questioned the
absolutely
efficacy
lost
of
it.
our vaccine.
Okay,
Yes,
let me-
you have.
let
Oh
me
my
finish.
God, he's
What I
such
want
a
you to
fraud and
do
a liar.
is, please use your bully pulpit to right now, as we're getting close to back to school, say, are you willing to say to parents who have not vaccinated their kids that they should vaccinate their kids for measles because it is safe and it will help them save their children's lives?
We tell people on my websites, my public
Right now,
pronouncement, I'll
look
say
into the
it right
camera.
now that parents should get their children vaccinated for measles. A measles vaccine is effective. It stops measles in about 97% of the cases.
He's really had to
People
turn
should
a
get
corner here.
Vaccinated.
Can I ask you,
It's really fascinating how anti-vaccine he's been, especially with the measles vaccine. He's been anti that as well. You know, the whole it causes autism bullshit, right? And you can see how serious this measles. Honestly, I'm actually thinking about this. I'm like, oh shit, we got something. This is big. This measles outbreak is gonna be like Raccoon fucking City. Like for this guy to turn a corner on the vaccine and now advocate for it, you know it's bad. And the thing is, it's probably their people that are dying, right? They want those votes, so they don't want these people to keep dying. It's this measles thing. I'm thinking about it now. I'm like, well, we got AI, we got wildfires, we got Terminator AI, we got wildfires, and now we got another measles outbreak. We're gonna die. We're all gonna die. It's great. It's great. No notes. No, love this reality. 10 out of 10. Would recommend.
Wall Street Journal reported that the president is pressuring you to conduct studies probing the link between vaccines and autism. Is that true?
Did you say probing the link?
I'm just quoting the Wall Street Journal, that the president wants you to go further to probe the link between autism and vaccines.
He certainly does.
Okay. Now, have you talked to him about medical research that have studied this for 25 years and found no link between autism and vaccines? And this is my question here, because I don't want to litigate that. My question is, why not, because you are HHS secretary now, why not study what could cause autism, which scientists do believe starts with fetal brain development? Why not do some studies on that, whether you're an environmental lawyer, whether there are environmental factors that go into contributing to a predisposed genetic situation?
Well, let me say this first. We're doing all those things, and that's one of the ways that we found Tylenol. There's 73 studies out there and linked Tylenol exposure during later pregnancy and during the perinatal period
Also bullshit.
To autism onset. But you are wrong when you say that this issue has been studied. It has been studied, and you're rolling your eyes, Dana. But
I
this is
am,
another
because
example.
I don't want to have
good
to
on
use
her.
our air to say this. There have been more than 40 studies involving 5.6 million people to conclude there is no link between vaccines and autism. This is the head of the Committee of Infectious Diseases for the American Academy.
You can't trust
And
that
let
person.
me tell you what the Institute of Medicine
See? There it
says,
goes.
which is the National Academy of Sciences, which is the ultimate arbiter on vaccine safety, and which it does not have an interest in this debate. It says that none of the 8 vaccines that are administered during the first 6 months of life have ever been studied for relationship to autism. It found 2 studies, one on the DTP vaccine that showed that it does cause autism, and one on the hepatitis B vaccine that again suggests that it does cause autism. The Institute of Medicine dismissed those 2 studies because they were based on CDC's database. The studies that you're referring to are all for one vaccine, the MMR vaccine, or one ingredient, thimerosal.
So you are actually looking at, you're starting new studies to try to link autism, but you're also
I'm
telling me.
not trying to link autism to anything. I'm trying to find out, why has autism gone
Are you
from
also
less than
trying to?
one- why
Are you
has
also trying to
autism
find
gone-
out how it interacts with people's DNA? What's predisposed to have an autistic child? Are you doing both?
Yeah, but Dana, you probably don't understand this because you're not a scientist, but genes
Well, you're not
don't
either.
cause, genes don't cause
I
epidemics.
understand. Genes.
They can provide a vulnerability, but
A
you
gene
need
provides
environmental
environmental. That's what I'm asking. Are you studying
Finally.
We're
environmental
looking at
exposure?
all the different environmental exposures, but your statement, you have been fooled. Your statement that this has been studied is not true. It's categorically
It is
not true.
considered.
Not for any of the studies.
It is considered.
Considered
decided
by who?
By every scientist who has studied this.
That is not true. I
It
can
is
give you
true.
hundreds of scientists who have looked at this.
So
and
on the
say,
one
why
hand,
is
you
it-
are. Do you understand
It's
why
the
people aren't
National
getting?
Academy of Sciences. What greater authority?
He's
do you have?
fucking
why
insane,
people are not
dude.
getting measles vaccines because they're hearing you say that it could
You're
cause
trying
autism.
to change the subject.
I'm not. It's very much
Yeah, you are.
related.
Show me one of the studies that's been done on the first 8 the vaccines during the first 6 months of life. You will not find them. The National Academy of Sciences.
So if that's
He's gonna
the
give
reason,
himself
why
a
are you
heart
telling
attack.
People to get the measles vaccine.
Because that is one of the vaccines that has been studied.
Okay.
It's the only one that has been studied.
Do you want people to get the MMR vaccine?
Yeah, I said that already.
Okay, so
I know you're flustered now, and it is.
I don't.
it
I'm
is
not frustrated at all.
because
I am
people have not
frustrated.
been
As he's
honest
like-
with
The reason
you.
I'm frustrated is because
Wow, he's insane.
you are
Saying
the
the experts say
HHS.
yes.
You are the HHS secretary, and you are talking about things that lead to vaccine hesitancy in this country, and it is something that causes problems for people
Let me
when
ask
there
you-
is not anything.
Let me ask you something. Do you see your job as ending vaccine hesitancy, or do you see your job as telling the truth to the American people?
I see my job as telling the truth, and the truth is that there is study after study after study. It's one of the most studied things out there in science.
You're repeating
and it
it
is
like a parrot. You're repeating
So are
it
you.
like a parrot.
So
I've
are you.
actually read the science.
You-
Let's
you
and
don't
I
wanna-
come
you don't
back
wanna-
here and debate the
So
science.
I'm not debating this with you.
Of course you.
This is where Mehdi Hassan is showing that he's right, where she doesn't have the she had that one study and she could go back to that. She could quote others. She could also quote, for example, that the original study claiming to have a link between vaccines and autism had to get retracted because the guy falsified his research and he ended up losing his license because he lied about his research. She could go there too, but she's clearly not prepared.
No, because I'm not
all
debating
you know how to
us.
do is repeat things that people told you and say, trust the experts. That's what you did during COVID. Now we know that Anthony Fauci, who was the expert, was lying about everything, about masks, about social distancing, about natural immunity, about the transmission from the vaccine, about the source of COVID. He was lying, and you were punishing people for not trusting the experts. And now you're rolling out the experts again
Yes.
to talk about something that you have no personal knowledge of.
It's going to be
Okay,
really
well,
interesting
guess what?
interaction
That
when
is
the
my
cameras
job
are off.
To talk to people.
Your job
To
is
see
to
what
Am
they
I allowed
do.
to
to
talk?
the American
Yes,
public.
yes. And my job
And
is
to
to
be-
get as
and
much
to-
information as
Well, also, she could pivot back to the original highlight. I was like, yes, my job is to tell the truth about the American public. Like, measles cases are reaching a 35-year high on your watch. And you gave a very tepid response when asked to endorse the measles vaccine. This is why people are afraid to get vaccinated, because people like you are saying all this nonsense when vaccines clearly show that there are less deaths and less infections with those vaccines.
I
And
can.
to maintain
And what we were doing,
a posture
what we were
of
doing,
fierce skepticism
what we
toward
were
government
doing
authority.
in COVID and still.
He looks like he's going to jump
with
over the
regard to these
fucking table
vaccines,
at
is
her.
Getting the best
This man is
information, the best science
a
that we
nutter.
can, and putting it out there. And sir,
He's
what
an
you
absolute
are doing
nutter.
is causing
getting the best
information
science
to
from
be out there
somebody
that
who's
is
lying to
not
you.
accurate.
Who was lying to
The
you?
National Academy of Sciences, which you just cited, in November, said we support the statement that vaccines do not cause autism. This is the National Academy of Sciences that you just talked about.
Look at the National Academy of Science most recently.
It's always the same gameplay. It's like, you can't trust that organization. You need to look at this other organization. Yeah, that organization also says the thing that I'm saying. Well, you need to look deeper into what that organization is doing because it's actually controlled by the Jews. Oh, shit, I just gave the game away.
Report.
Okay.
And you'll see.
I want to ask you one other question because it's something that really did help Donald Trump get elected, and that is the MAHA movement and specifically the question of processed foods.
Of what?
Processed foods and the fact that people want to feel that their food is safe. My understanding is that you're pushing for reforms on food safety and ultra-processed foods that have been slowed, in some cases blocked, by people in the administration who are working on behalf of the industry. Is that true?
No, that is not true.
Sure.
So you feel that you'll be able to get these reforms done without any problems?
I think the the two big reforms that you're probably talking about is ultra-processed food definition
Exactly.
and the GRAS standards.
Yes.
And they've both gone through extensive interagency process. I'm very confident that we will get them both out there within probably a month.
Well, I'm sorry that this, and that's good news for people who are very moms, and I'm one of them, who are very worried about making sure that our kids eat food and we eat food that is healthy. I'm sorry that this turned into a
Why
very
is she
contentious
apologizing?
Conversation.
This is stupid.
And my job is to try to get the best information out there. And
Jesus,
it does
abused
concern
wife
me
syndrome.
when you come in.
He
and
acts like
say
a
things
nut
that
job.
have-
And she's the one
what you're saying have
apologizing.
been yeah, people who have scientific backgrounds, and who I know have tried to talk to you as well. Thank you for coming in.
Absolutely insane. All right, let's watch some videos.
Bro just realized himself.
Oh, that's adorable. He's like, who is you? Who the hell is you? It's always the small dogs like corgis, man. Always. They just go buck wild.
Don't spoil my mirror. Don't spoil my mirror.
He's gonna knock that shit over. Oh, he didn't like that. Oh my god, what is this critter? It's a little chihuahua.
That's you. That's you, this nigga.
I really wonder what they're thinking. They gotta be thinking like it's an intruder or something, you know? Oh, that's too funny. Frenchies. All right, that's it for me. I gotta get going. I am out.